Hello and welcome to the EFN Presents review of the My Little Pony comic issue 10, part 2 of Zen and the Art of Gazebo Repair. As always guys, I will be covering the whole comic here, so if you haven't had a chance to read it yet, go and check it out and then come on back. Poor Big Mac just can't catch a break, can he? Despite the destruction of the hardware store in the last issue, he's still short one box of nails, and he's got a whole issue left to suffer through to find it. How does everything wrap up? Let's find out. Cover A for this issue, by Andy Price, shows us a collection of background ponies including DJ Pony, Dr. Hooves, Colgate, Derpy, Octavia, and others. Why are they on the cover of this issue? I have no idea. Despite the story being a medley of encounters with minor characters, most of the characters portrayed here do absolutely nothing. Vinyl Scratch gets a bit with a fun little Electric Light Orchestra reference, but otherwise, they're the background ponies they always were. Disappointing to say the least. Let's go with the other cover. Yeah, that's better. This is cover B by Tony Fleece. Big Mac, fireworks, and explosions. Now we're talking. In fact, that's just how I would have pitched this story. And remember, cool guys don't look at explosions. Except the ones in the sky, he looks at those. Despite Big Mac's demeanor at the end of the last comic, and his hulking out on the carnival game at the outset of this issue, there's no real change in his character. After all he's been through, nothing. He's just going from random event to random event, getting sucked into situations that take him away from his task at hand. At least this time, we have a bit more continuity, including the ever-present Fleetfoot receiving what she believes to be tokens of affection from Big Mac. Unintentional emotional trauma is so hilarious. And we even see a repeated events of Fleetfoot's story, leading to yet another infatuated mare following him around. Also, we see the last parts of the main six's background story of the Sunstone, told by Fluttershy and Twilight, but the continuity doesn't end there. Callbacks to previous issues, going all the way back to the first comic, can be found here, with the stuffed Pinkie Pie mirroring her costume from issue 3, and Derpy's cocoon from issue 1, which we find being occupied by Dr. Hooves. Or possibly Derpy too, the muffins are still there. Spike gets a segment to himself as he tries to sell Big Mac pony figures that he's made. Though Spike's had schemes in the past, he comes across uncharacteristically manipulative here. Maybe he needs to get that dragon greed in check again. Just when things start to seem like a complete rehash of the last issue, in Mac's second run-in with Sakura, we get sucker punched with a wonderful lesson delivered so casually when she asks him whether today was really all that bad. And it's in here that the genius of this story lies. So much of the fun of this story has been all the crazy goings-on at the fair and seeing all the minor characters out doing their thing. It's exciting and it all blends together in a whirlwind you just can't help but get caught up in. And so do the other ponies. And so does Big Mac. But Big Mac's unique in that, for him, everything that's been going on hasn't been exciting or fun, but a distraction, an obstacle from his obsession with this banal, insignificant goal to acquire a tiny piece of metal. Though everything that's been going on has impeded his efforts, this day was a special event, doubly so for Big Macintosh, whom Applejack is surprised to see at the fair, commenting that he typically avoids these things. Throughout this story, Big Mac's been blind to all the good things, the special moments that have happened during the day, and those that he's shared them with. No better is this portrayed than after Big Macintosh's conversation with Applejack, where he just stands there fuming while the main six and Spike dance and have fun together at the hoedown. This lesson lies in a similar vein to the lessons in the episodes It's About Time and Lesson 0. This is a lesson about priorities and frame of mind, focusing more on the self than interactions with others. It's not a lesson about getting out and spending time with people, because Big Mac did that. He was involved, though usually against his will or very begrudgingly. In fact, he got to do a lot of pretty awesome things today, like be in the parade, again albeit by accident, and be Luna's partner in the games. But he doesn't recognize or appreciate these, because the only thing important in his mind is those damn nails. Whether it's a fair, or a vacation, or a night out with friends, we have the power to ruin things for ourselves simply by denying ourselves the pleasure to enjoy them. something I'm sure every reader has experienced at one time or another. After taking stock of the day, Big Mac's attitude does a 180, and despite the late hour, he fits in plenty more activities, including an arm wrestle competition against Celestia, and a kiss from Luna on the Ferris wheel. I guess she wasn't too upset with his leaving the games, though she can't be too mad if they won all those trophies together. Capping it off, Big Mac grabs a caramel apple, no, not that caramel, and takes in the CMC's fireworks show. As the comic ties up loose ends, Big Mac runs into Lugnut repairing his store. There, he finds that Apple Bloom had the farm's nails stashed in her clubhouse where they were building their catapult. And in one final blow, no pun intended, Big Mac returns to the farm to find the gazebo destroyed. At least they found out what happened to the CMC's other fireworks. Ending the story on a joke like this fits it perfectly. At its core, this is a silly story about a day in Ponyville. Having the lesson in there is just the cherry on top, so this little touch of schadenfreude is the perfect send-off. On top of Price's always exceptional expressions, creative layouts like the integrated smash when Big Mac destroys the carnival game, and the album panel borders for photo finishes segment, and superb splash pages, this comic features amazing colorization by Heather Breckel. Spanning almost half the issue, the comic gradually slips from daylight through twilight and into night, with a subtle shift to warmer tones and a great use of gradients for the sky and scenery. This helps keep some sense of continuity between the panels, as well as conveying a sense of the events winding down. Some complaints from the previous issue are still present, including the lack of crowds in most scenes, though the crowd elements during the parade and hoedown scenes are handled well, and with all the action in this scene, it's more of a nitpick and doesn't really detract too much from the main story. This seemingly innocuous tale gives the more epic comic storylines a run for their money. It promises a tale of Big Mac on a quest to the hardware store, with silliness along the way, and it delivers that in spades, with a cavalcade of minor characters delivering one comedic scene after another, and Big Mac's increasing frustration building to some inevitable climax. But in one simple scene, they turn these expectations on their heads, and the sudden swing proves cathartic for Big Mac as well as the reader, vanquishing, if for a moment, all thoughts of Nails, as it lays out some more crazy carnival antics that we can take in a new light, appreciating them for what they are rather than how they play into Big Mac's frustrations. And as the ponies strike the set for the fair and this comic, we're treated to one last laugh. Proving that less can be more, the two-part Zen and the Art of Gazebo Repair sets the bar for the stories to come after it, delivering a consistently funny experience with a perfectly integrated moral that's right up there with the best that this series has to offer. For Everfree Network, I'm Ramble. See you next time.